Namaste, welcome to season 2, episode 14 of TT Talks. My name is Suhas, and today we have two special guests.
Hi, my name is Arushi.
Hello, I'm Jiya.
And yeah, let's just get started. So, Arushi and Jiya, do you guys want to explain what school you guys go to and what major you guys are?
Yeah, so we both go to Georgia Tech, and I'm an electrical engineering major.
I'm a biochemistry major at Georgia Tech.
And just briefly, what made you guys choose that major?
Well, for me, I took a class that was electronics related in high school, and I thought it was pretty interesting, so that's how I ended up choosing it. And also, my family has a very large engineering background, so...
It's a similar route for me too. Like I took these like AP Bio, AP Chem in high school, and I enjoyed both of those classes. And I was like, let's see what happens if I choose this my major.
Gotcha. And what part of India are you guys from?
My parents are from the northern part, so Uttar Pradesh, and yeah.
I'm also from North India, like Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, and like my extended family is in Punjab.
Mm-hmm. And when was the last time you guys visited these areas?
I think the last time I went was 2018, so like 4-ish years ago.
I moved to US in the summer of 2019, so I have not been since then.
And Jiya, so just a random question. How were you able to adjust to the transition between living in India versus living in the US?
I mean, in the beginning, it was pretty hard, but I had the school, and I came in sophomore year, so it was hard to adjust in the middle, but eventually it worked out.
Wait, so
but the culture, everything is very different, like the school system, and it was, it was.
So wait, if it's your 10th grade, so was that COVID year?
6 months after I came, COVID hit.
Okay.
So I went to school for 6 months, and then I was at home for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think were some of the biggest difference between at least the schools from India versus US?
The biggest for me was in India, you were not allowed to take your phones to school, and here,
Wow.
I was surprised because that was a very strict policy in India of not having your phones with you.
Yeah.
So it was a lot more chill here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And in my school in India, we wore school uniforms, and here we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big difference.
So just a random question. Do you think that we should implement school uniforms here, or do you think it's just free choice?
I like the idea of free choice better. Now, if we implement school uniforms here, it's just going to be very weird. So let's just stick to the free choice. I like it better.
What about you, Arushi?
About school uniforms?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up here, so I think I'm just used to not having to wear a uniform, so I think I would probably prefer that. But honestly, it might be nice having a uniform because then you don't have to actually think about what you're wearing.
I completely agree. I would rather have a uniform than just free will. Yeah, okay, so let's just get into it. So, what languages do you guys speak?
I speak Hindi.
I also speak Hindi.
Do you speak Hindi at home too, or is it just with your grandparents and stuff?
Yeah, no, I speak Hindi at home as well.
I speak Hindi with my parents.
Do you guys know any other, do you or your parents know any other languages?
No, my parents just know Hindi, and I also only know Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I only know Hindi, but my parents know a little bit Punjabi. And I can understand a little bit Punjabi, but I cannot speak.
Okay. And so, when you guys are watching Indian movies and stuff like that, do you guys only stick to Hindi movies, or do you guys explore other languages as well?
I would say mostly Hindi movies, but I have seen 1 or 2 Telugu movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Mostly Hindi, but I've seen Punjabi movies, Telugu movies, a few of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how do you guys do you think there's I've seen a lot of South Indian movies that are targeted towards the North Indian audience. So like, what is your opinion on that? So like having like a North Indian actress in like a South Indian movie.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I can't really tell because I don't know. Like, if they're in the South Indian movie, I was just kind of assuming that they were South Indian.
Even like for me, I have not seen as many South Indian movies, so I don't recall seeing like a familiar North Indian actress
Yeah.
in a South Indian movie, so I don't have much experience about that. But I've seen the opposite a lot. Like there are South Indian actresses in North Indian movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so just moving on to like that type of topic. What type of song do you guys listen to, any like Bollywood songs or anything like that?
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Bollywood music.
That's like, just name a few. Like do you know any names of like songs that you enjoy?
Oh, I know. Jiya likes quesadilla a lot.
I do. That is, yeah. I just like the artist Arijit Singh. I listen to a lot of his music.
Yeah, I like his song too.
Did you go to his concert or something?
I went to Arijit Singh's concert, yeah, in June. It was great.
And okay, so let's just move on to the next topic. So, what do you guys know anything about cultural representation? Like, do you just know what that term means or anything? Like, do you know what do you know what cultural representation refers to?
I mean, I thought it was just having different cultures, like this. I can't use the word in the definition. In, just being aware about different cultures, or like having them present, or having access to knowledge about them.
What about you, Jiya?
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. Like, again, I don't want to use the words from the phrase in the definition. Your culture is being represented, and you being, like what Arushi said, you being informed about them, different cultures.
So do you think Georgia Tech does a good job of representing Indian culture?
I think so. I really, really do think so, because they do so many different events. Like even for Diwali, there was like 3 or 4 different events that they had, and they were on separate days and everything. And I was surprised, because I haven't even been to that many Diwali events here at my house.
Yeah. And even like in the entire Diwali week, they tried to like serve Indian food in the dining halls, and it was like multiple days when they have done so. So Georgia Tech does like a great job representing Indian culture. There's so many.
Is there like one event that particularly stuck out to you, or like something that you thought was really creative?
The Diwali event they had, they had like a lot of activities going on. Like they had rangoli making and diya making, and they had like sparklers. So they tried to like include everything like Diwali related, and it was like a really like well planned.
No, the Diwali ones were definitely really nice, but like an other event that I thought was pretty cool was when they made I forgot which club it was. I think it might have been the Hindu Yuva Club. They had like, you make the clay Ganesh statue.
Oh, yeah,
like they served food and everything. I think that was a really nice event.
And just like a random question, do you guys play any Indian instruments or have any experience with that?
No instruments. Nope.
Okay, I don't play anything now, but in like 3rd grade, I play like the harmonium for some time.
Harmonium?
But
what is that?
It is like a more ethnic and Indian version of a piano.
Oh, is it the thing that goes like
you?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but I played that in like the 3rd grade. I got good at it, but I like lost practice.
That's so cool. You should have kept doing it.
I should have.
Were you self-taught, or did your parents teach you?
No, so one of my friends in school, she was really good at playing the harmonium, and her mom used to like give classes for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to join those classes. So I
Gotcha.
used to go to learn.
Yeah. I used to play tabla actually when I was young.
Oh,
I
That's
mean,
cool.
that's technically self-taught because I didn't really go to any classes or anything.
Okay.
But I kind of, yeah, I also just stopped once like school started to pick up and like classes got harder because I just didn't have time to like, just devote hours on hours for like learning instruments.
are you still able to play though?
I mean, it's drums. I mean, so you can. I used to be able to like like play different like my range is probably like decreased throughout the years, so I can't probably hit as many notes, but I could probably like still play like basic songs.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and like the podcast that we recorded before you guys, he's also someone from Georgia Tech. He plays the sitar, and he's in GT Arohi.
Oh,
So he was just talking about like how there's like a lot of people in Arohi that play a different amount of instruments, and I think one of them is a harmonium as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked about cultural representation at Georgia Tech, but like when you guys come back home in your like home communities, do you think cultural representation is still high for Indians in your area?
I think there is a decent amount of cultural representation here because we do have events like our park district for my village, my town, the suburb I live in. They do like they host garba events and they do like holy events also. So I think they do make an effort.
For I, it's not the same for my community. Like there are a lot of brown people here, but the community itself does not do anything. But us, like we have like a big group within the community, so we like organize the events ourselves. Like we try to do activities whenever like they're like garba or holy, whatever. But I don't think there's like much of an effort from the community itself.
So it's just effort from the people who participate in those activities.
Yes, like we have like conducted a lot of stuff. Like the Independence Day during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
we conducted like this whole event where we gathered all the little kids, and I like made a quiz regarding the like Indian history and whatnot, and we were like trying to inform the little kids about.
I'm gonna just talk a little bit about the last like a little bit about your trip when you went to India in 2018.
My trip in 2018. So usually when we go, the main people we're visiting are my grandparents and then sometimes like my uncle on my mom's side. Because my uncle on my dad's side lives with my grandma. So we went to, I think, Lucknow, Kanpur, and Mumbai in that trip. And those are like usually the places that we end up visiting.
Mm-hmm. Jiya, what like when you used to live in India, what are your favorite places you used to visit?
I went to Kerala in like 2010, and that was like a beautiful place. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
Kerala. That was really pretty. Yes, that's like my core memory.
Core memory.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And yeah, Jiya, you were talking about how you used to make quizzes for Independence Day.
That was like one main cultural activity that I conducted, and that was like really fun. It made me happy informing all the little kids about
Wait,
what.
you did that here or you did that in India?
Yeah,
Here.
it was during COVID year, like when like we couldn't do anything outside, so we
Gotcha.
decided to like an event inside the community.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
we have done stuff.
yeah, adding on to like that history type of question. So me and my friends we were talking the other day about like AP, did you guys take AP World History?
No.
Okay. Well, we looked at our textbook and everything and like there wasn't on compared to like other cultures and like other events, like India didn't have as many events like talked about in our world history book. So I think the only main one was like the Independence War from Britain. So do you guys think that the like in schools and stuff that people should teach more about Indian culture and history?
I would say so, yeah, because like I took regular world history, and like there was not much mention of India like
Yeah.
anywhere. So I do agree that like the American high schools should teach more about Indian history.
Mm-hmm.
That
What about you, Arushi?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I don't ever think I got any Indian history exposure in any of my classes in high school, or maybe a little bit in middle school, but because it was more like social studies and different cultures focused. But I think we definitely could put more focus on that.
Okay. So, like, for example, like off the top of your head, what do you think that some more Indian history that like what events should be included?
they can like I cannot think of any events, but like this is something we did in India. We conducted like plays and stuff that represented some scenes from like Indian history, like whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what they can do here as well, like plays and acts to inform other people about what went on.
Like theater?
Yeah,
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
that's yeah.
not theater. I think you mean like basically you put on little like mini skits and like
Yeah,
you have a paper script.
That would come under theater, according to me.
Maybe because I don't know. We did stuff like that, but not with Indian history. With American history, when we would like do mini plays, we just get a script and then do mini plays. So I feel like that would be cool.
We did a lot of that in India. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so I just had a question for Arushi. So Arushi, for our guest, Arushi lives in Illinois, way up north, and she comes to college in Georgia Tech. And how many times have you visited back home this semester?
This is my third time back home for winter break right now. So yeah, I went for fall break, Thanksgiving, and then winter break.
Mm-hmm. So do you ever feel like out of touch from like your culture and your family by going to college essentially across the country?
I don't think I feel out of touch with my family because I try to call almost every day. It is kind of hard, and it's not the same, not like actually seeing them.
Yeah.
Because versus over the phone, you can't really talk for as long, and there's always work to do, so it's kind of hard. But I think I feel pretty in touch because like when I go home, it feels the same. Like it just feels normal. It feels like I recharged my battery and then I'm going back. Basically. So I don't feel that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Connect really. Yeah.
What about you, Jiya?
I mean, I live like 40 minutes away from campus, so I come almost every weekend. But it doesn't feel as different. Like coming back home doesn't feel very different, and going back to campus doesn't feel that different either. So it has been pretty normal for me. It's not as different as I thought it would be before starting college.
Gotcha.
It's pretty,
No, I absolutely hate coming back to campus. Like the drive back, I absolutely hate it. So that's interesting to see that you like are able to like.
Maybe it's because you're driving. Are you driving?
yeah.
I drive. No, sometimes I'm a passenger person.
Okay.
It's just like coming back onto that
Dangerous.
queen size bed, bro.
That is not very pleasant.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back. Like whenever I come home, like I'm sad that it's Sunday already and I have to go back. But when I actually reach campus, it feels normal again.
Yeah. Okay.
But the going back journey is not very pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I feel that too. When I'm on the plane, I'm like, man, why am I leaving? But then it's like, when I get back, I'm like, okay, it's fine, I guess.
Exactly.
So, do you guys have any controversial opinions about Indian culture or anything?
I don't think so.
I cannot think of any controversial opinions on top of my head.
Do you have any controversial opinions that we should be aware of?
I've already disclosed those on other podcasts, so you're gonna have to watch it to find out.
Got you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. What are your guys' other hobbies in general? Just a casual question.
At home, so I like reading. a lot. I probably do that a lot in my free time. I like baking. That's fun. And what else? Sometimes, if I'm feeling artistic, I will paint, but it doesn't usually go that well. So I try not to do that, but it's okay.
No, don't worry. I'll put a picture of like your self portrait in the description.
No, please, no. That is okay. That is perfectly fine. Other than that, just like spending time with family and watching football. Yes.
Football, damn.
Yeah.
For me, I really enjoy baking. I draw a lot, like digital art. I really enjoy digital art. And I paint. I love listening to music, watching sitcoms.
How I Met Your Mother.
But yeah, baking is like, yeah, I bake a lot.
Okay, Arushi, I had just a question. So, on a different podcast, we talked about this as well, but I wanted to ask you too. So, when you watch football and stuff, do you notice any like South Asian players?
Rarely. Have I ever seen a South Asian player? I think there was like one kicker on some team that was South Asian. Maybe. But for the most part, no. There's literally no South Asian people playing or like coaching or anything.
And what do you think the reason for that is?
I mean, I think that a lot of times people end up going into fields or have interests that are similar to what their families do. Like even for me, for example, my parents are engineers and I'm also studying to become an engineer.
Yeah.
And I feel like so for a lot of Indian families, they don't have a very like football or athletic type of background. So a lot of people just don't get interested in it.
And do you think did your parents ever pressure you to do something like just to do like a engineer or doctor type of like profession?
There was a doctor time. There was a slight push, like, oh my God, do you maybe want to be a doctor? But they never like actually really forced me to do anything that I didn't want to do. So,
okay. Like, as in, like, did they ever, like, let's say you were interested in like history and like you want to be a historian or something. Would your parents have supported you with that, or would they have been like just be an engineer or a doctor?
No, I think they would have supported me.
Okay.
With the history, and yeah, I think they would have supported me.
What about you, Jiya?
I did have a phase before where I wanted to become a doctor, but I did like choose a science degree. I wanted to become a doctor in like all throughout middle school. I was like, yes, I am gonna go into that. But later, when I thought more about it, I dropped the idea. My parents, they never forced me to go for like to become a doctor and an engineer, but I'm not gonna lie, they're not happy with what I chose right now either. So it is a possibility that I will change my major, but they never forced me to do anything. Like they are fine with what I'm going with.
Wait, so you're doing biochemistry for like a pharmaceutical type of approach, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So like this is, I know this is just like a top question, but what do you think you would switch your major to?
CS. I knew. I was expecting this reaction.
Okay.
The
No,
deep
I
exhale.
have no opinions.
Please, your lack of words expressed your opinion very loudly.
And then Gia, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies. I
That's
talked about my hobbies.
You didn't mention. You only mentioned like, I think one of them.
Okay, I enjoy reading. I enjoy drawing. Listening to music, watching TV shows. Yeah, I talked about this.
And like when both of you guys like watching TV shows and movies, right? So what do you guys think about like more like American shows having like a Telugu, no, not Telugu, like an Indian character or like person.
It is very, very stereotypical,
Yeah.
according to me.
Yeah.
I
That is
do
true.
enjoy it.
I feel like they never got out
In,
of the Baljeet phase. Like I feel like people just have that like Baljeet from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people still have like that stereotype.
I
yeah,
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
agree. In Big Bang Theory, they have like a main, like one of the
Yeah.
main characters, Raj. He like his character is very stereotypical, and I do not enjoy it. It's sometimes like infuriating, like the way they have portrayed his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have to work on that.
I feel like they just put them in for like the diversity factor. Like, oh, we have an Indian
Yeah,
person, maybe
Yeah.
Indian people will watch it too.
yeah,
No, I very much agree with Gia. There's a lot of times I don't even see Indian characters, but if there are, then for the most part they'll have like they're the nerd, they're the smart one, they're socially awkward and stuff like that. So
sure.
Gotcha. Just like any other Indian movies that you enjoy or watched.
meaning like basically what Hindi movies do we like?
Bollywood,
Like
yeah.
okay. I think my all-time favorite Bollywood movie is Swades because I just really liked the story. I feel like the acting was very good, and it's interesting. And I did have a NASA phase growing up, so maybe that's why.
What is that movie about? I don't think I've watched it.
Okay, so basically, there's Shah Rukh Khan, and he's a NASA scientist. He's a meteorologist, I think.
Yeah.
And he lives in America, and he has like a nanny, a caretaker back in India,
Yeah.
and he hasn't seen her in like many years. So he ends up going back to see her, and then from there, stuff happens. Like he kind of realizes that the living situation in India isn't that good, like education and poverty wise in some places, and he kind of decides to try to help that instead of going back to America.
What about you, Gio?
But it's for me. It Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. Have you seen that movie?
I don't remember names. Like, explain what's going on. Yeah.
It is like mainly about friendship. It's like it's about three male friends, and one of them is getting married. So it is like surrounded upon like one of like his bachelor's party. So they like travel a lot, and it's about like friendships and relationships, balancing both of them together. And it is a comedy movie. I really enjoy it. I've seen it multiple times.
What are your guys' opinion of like Indian actors breaking into Hollywood movies and like being in them?
Break.
Breaking into. It's a fun way to put it. I don't really see an issue.
Me either. Like I don't. There's not a problem with that.
Like if everyone there, if they're trying to work in a Hollywood movie, or like if a Hollywood actor is trying to work in a Bollywood movie for like whatever role, then I mean that's cool. They're gaining a new experience. Good for them.
So yeah, do you guys have anything else to add around any of your topics or explain yourself any further?
I think we did cover a lot of content about India. So
Gio, when's the next time you're gonna visit India again?
hopefully, like next summer,
Yeah.
I really want to go to India. So
Like you miss
I
your
wish.
friends and stuff, your family. Yeah.
Yes,
How does the
I'm excited.
do like just this is like a personal question, but is there a high school specifically thing in India, or is it like standards?
Like high school is not a thing. Like for my school,
Yeah.
it's like one school from like first grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
It's like different wings.
Gotcha.
Like buildings, they were called wings, like primary wing, secondary wing.
Okay.
So that's how it was in my school.
What is the phase you do after you graduate from there? Like, what do you do after that?
Like, it's the same as here. You start college.
Okay.
But here, you prep for college during your junior year, senior year. Like, you're giving the SATs, you're applying for colleges. There, you're just... Everything about college starts after your senior year. Like, you start giving entrance exams and stuff like that. You don't really think much about college when you are a senior in school.
Gotcha.
So there's like a couple of months gap after you finish, like not including break. Like here, how we started in August, a lot of people in India, they're starting in like October or November. So in the middle, they're just like discovering where they want to go and giving exams and stuff. So that's the difference, like what happens after graduation. But then it goes on like college and like masters, and then you continue.
Gotcha. And I've heard like they don't have like an undergraduate thing. They have like more like school engineering schools or like medical school.
Yeah.
So you go directly until you have to essentially decide from then what you want to.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Arushi, do you have anything else to add about any of your topics?
No, but wait, I have a question for Jiya. Wait, so isn't there like a thing where you choose a track or something in 11th and 12th grade?
That happens in school. Like after your sophomore year, there are like 3 streams you can choose from. It's like a science stream, a commerce stream, and then like arts and humanities and stuff.
Okay.
And you choose from that, and then your classes in 11th and 12th grade are mainly focused on that stream, and then from that you choose like what college you want to go to.
Gotcha.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know anyone that got into IIT?
Yes.
Wow.
Like I had some science friends.
Really? What are they studying? Do you know?
I do not. I should know this, but
It's okay.
I don't know specifics. But I know a couple of people who are in IIT. But if you plan on going into IIT and stuff, then you have to start preparing before, because like preparing for their exam takes a long time. Like, so I know a few people who don't continue with school, like actual school. They just focus in like IIT prep. They just take classes. They like drop school.
You can do that?
Yeah. One of my dad's friend's daughter, she did that. She stopped after 11th grade, and she just focused on IIT. So that is like...
So is your life essentially set if you get into IIT?
I mean, like, it's very easy to get jobs from that. Like, they like pretty well for later stuff.
Gotcha.
So.
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so we can just wrap it up. So, thank you guys so much for taking out the time to be on this podcast. I definitely learned a lot from you guys.
Thank you for asking us these fun questions.
Yes, it was really fun.
Yep, and if you had to tell our listeners anything, like one final lesson, or like thing like to leave with, what would it be? Like one thing to take away from this.
One thing to take away, be open-minded, I guess, just learn about every culture that you can, and, just be open to things.
What about you, Jiya?
It is important to like stay connected to your cultural roots, even if like we live in America, but like being informed about your culture is very important.
Gotcha. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.